राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे राम हरे हरे कृष्णा हरे राम हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे जय जगन्नाथ जगन्नाथ बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय जगन्नाथ जगन्नाथ बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय गौरानिताय 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 जय गौरानिताय 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 जय गौरानिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय श्रील प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद जय श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय भगवते नमो 28 to 30 उषी नरेष्वबुद्राजा सुयज्ञ इति विश्रुतः सपत्नैर्निहतो युद्धे ज्ञातयस्तम् उपासत. Synonyms: Ushi Nareshu, in the state known as Ushinara, Abhuta, there was Raja, a king, Suyagya, iti, thus, Vishrutah, celebrated, Sapatnaihi, by enemies, Nihatah, killed, Yuddhe, in war, Jnatayah, the kinsmen, sat around. Translation: in the state known named Suyagya, when the king was killed in the dead body and began to lament the death of their friend. Text number 29 to 31 will recite. विशीर्ण रत्न कवचम विभ्रष्टाभरण शरणिर्वाविलं प्रकीर्णकेशं ध्वस्ताङ्क्षं रभसादष्टदच्छदं रजःकुण्ठं मुखाम्भोजं छिन्नायुधभुजं हृदे उशीनरेन्द्रविधिना तथा कृतं पदयोरुपापतन्. Synonyms: Ushirna, scattered here and there; Ratna, made of jewels; Kavacham, protective armor; Vibhrashta, fallen off; Abharana, ornaments; Srijam, garlands; Shara Nirbhinna, pierced by arrows; Hridayam, the heart; Ashkra Avilam, smeared with blood; Prakirna Kesham, his hair loosened and scattered; Dvashta Aksham, his eyes obscured; Rabhasa, beat. We'll move to the translations. There are so many words. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation: His golden bejeweled armors smashed his ornaments and garlands fallen from their places, his hair scattered and his eyes lusterless. The slain king lay on the battlefield, his entire body smeared with blood, his heart pierced by the arrows of the enemy. When he died, he had wanted to show his prowess, and thus he had bitten his lips, and his teeth remained in that position. His beautiful lotus like face was now black and covered with dust from the battlefield. His arms, with his sword and other weapons, were cut and broken. When the queens of the king of Ushinara saw their husband lying in that position, they began crying, "O Lord, now that you have been killed, we also have been killed." Repeating these words again and again, they fell down, pounding their breast at the feet of the dead king. Purport: as stated here, Rabhasa Dashta Dachadam, the dead king, while fighting in anger, beat his he was killed by providence, vidhina. This proves that we are controlled by higher authorities. Our personal power or endeavor is not always supreme. We must therefore accept the position offered to us by the order of the Supreme. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। नमः ॐ सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. So we again welcome you all to this Srimad Bhagavatam class. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 2, text number 28 to 31. So this is the context that Hiranyakashipu got killed by Lord Varahadev, and the relatives of Hiranyakashipu, his mother and his wives, they were lamenting. And in this situation, Hiranyakashipu, so which we are reading today, the example of the king, the king named Suyagya. Suyagya is the king of the province. This king Suyagya, he got killed, and his wives, they were lamenting in front of that dead body of the king. And at this place, Yamaraj comes, and as in the form of a child, and he gives instructions. So similarly, Hiranyakashipu taking the place, say had happened in the past, and trying to take out some lessons, to learn some lessons. So most of the time, posed equipized in the present situation, in the present lamenting situations, and avoid some future bad things which will come due to our going into that situation. So most of the time, the past is our history which teaches us the lessons. But in modern science, the history is always misunderstood or mistaught to the future generations as a mythology. Hmm. So our Vedic scriptures, they are filled with historical evidences or historical uh, happenings. But most of the time, the modern education system, it just misleads us, saying that these were just stories made by some people just to entertain the public. Hmm. But those were not the stories of entertainment, but those were the historical happenings or evidences, which we can use in our present situation to take some lessons and advance in our both material as well as spiritual life. So this is our one of the fault of education system, that it doesn't teaches us the philosophy of soul. So Prabhupada, in different places, he speaks about the and sorry, the unlimited power of the supreme of the living entity, Jiva. Here also, Prabhupada in the purport is saying that the king, the Suyagya, the dead king, while fighting in anger, beat his lips to show his prowess. This king, his situation, the dead body, is seen as his teeth are come out of his mouth and beating the lips. What it shows, when we beat the lip, when we are very angry. When somebody is in very much anger, but he cannot do anything, so he beats his teeth. Means when this king, he was so helpless, his hands were cut, his body is smeared with blood, his body is pierced with arrows of enemy, and in such a situation he has no power to counteract, but he was in so much of anger. He just wanted to counteract and show his prowess. So in this situation, the king beats his lip through his with his teeth, and this shows the epitome of anger. He was so angry. For what he became so angry? Just he wanted to prove his prowess, prove his power against his enemy. So Prabhupada says providence, vidhana. So what it shows that there is somebody who is superior and who is that we are somebody is most powerful than us. But most of the time, the most powerful is not taught or is not spoken of. And the living, and he just want to show his prowess. by enjoying the king, he wanted to show his prowess. So let us try to understand Srila Prabhupada in the purport of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 5. He says that living entities are the superior energy of the Lord. They are not matter. Material science thinks that we are matter and life comes from matter. But the spiritual science says that life doesn't come from matter, life comes from life. And that life is a superior energy of the Lord. Inferior nature is a matter, but the superior nature is the living entities, Jiva. Soul is the superior energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There must be a person who is energetic. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is energetic, Shaktiman, and the energy is a living entity, Jivas are Shakti. So Prabhupada says energies are always controlled by the energetic. As here also in the purport, Prabhupada is saying this proves that we are controlled by higher authorities, and the higher authority is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they have no independent existence, they are never equally powerful. The living entities, jivas, they are not equally powerful with Lord, but they are subordinate to the Lord, and their powers also less in comparison with the Lord. As unintelligent men think that they are equally powerful. Unintelligent men, they think that they are equally powerful with the Lord. That's why Hiranyaksha, he thought that he is so powerful, he wanted to fight with the Lord. And Lord, by killing him, Lord shows that he was not so powerful than Lord. Lord is the supreme powerful. But in illusion, we think that we are supreme enjoyer. In illusion, we think that we are most powerful. But the illusion is broken when the Supreme Personality of Godhead comes in the picture. He shows that we are just an insignificant part and parcel of His supremacy. This distinction between the living entities and the Lord is described in Srimad Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada, in the purport of Bhagavad Gita 7.5, he is referring, giving a reference of Srimad Bhagavatam 10.87.30. He says in that 10.87.30 Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said, O Supreme Eternal, if the embodied living entities were eternal and all pervading like you, then they would not be under your control. But if the living entities are accepted as minute energies of your lordship, then they are at once subject to your supreme control. Therefore, real liberation entails surrender by the living entities to your control, and that surrender will make them happy. In that constitutional position, only can they be controllers. Therefore, men with limited knowledge who advocate the monistic theory that God and the living entities are equal in all respects are actually misleading themselves and others. Okay, so here in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that if the potency or the power of Lord and the Jiva is equal, Lord is under the control of Lord, it means Lord is the, and here if the living entity accepts this position that the jivas are the subordinate, surrenders to the Lord, then that is the only situation when the living entities jiva can become happy. Else he has to face the death and be miserable. But the monistic philosophy or philosophers, they they mislead themselves and others by saying that the living entities and the supreme personality are the supreme personality of God. The living entities are supreme person. Just they are now in a illusion of Maya, so they forgot their powers. But if they come out of Maya, they will become one with the Lord. That is useless. So we can understand here that the living entities and of Godhead, they are qualitatively equal, but the quantitatively Lord is the most powerful, and Jivas are given some powers, or he has less power than the Lord. That the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam 1 teachings of Lord Chaitanya book. He says that the with which he works are independent, gold mine. So Lord is gold mine, and the cosmic creation is so many different forms are compared to the sub objects made from the gold.